Hey, Glassy, can you hear me?
Got you, Winks, yep.
I do not have audio. Mikey, can you hear me? It looks like
Yeah, you can't hear anything.
we do see you guys, but I do not have audio yet.
Okay. Hold on. Good.
You got me, Winks?
Yeah, I got you. It was my fault. Sorry about that. First question here, Doug Robertson. Doug, go ahead. Your line is open.
Hey, Coach. How do you explain, or can you explain the team again giving up a very quick goal at the beginning of the game and again at the end of the game, not being able to get a shot off in the final 20 minutes when it's trailing by a goal?
I think the first issue, we lost a goal early on a counter-attack, something that we specifically talked about. If there are opportunities to tackle in their half, preventing the ball coming forward, which there was, then it prevents the counter-attack happening. So something that should be prevented, not being prevented, that's why that happened. And then not getting shots off late in the game, we had a number of crosses coming into the box. Obviously, if Cubo's chance goes in, then we're sitting at 2 each. But they kind of packed the centre of the pitch, so it was a case of trying to get wide and get the ball in. Maybe slightly better deliveries, or there was a couple of crosses came in when there's a lack of numbers attacking it as well. So both contributing factors to not scoring a goal late on.
Next question, Felipe. Your line's open. Go ahead, Felipe.
Thank you. Good evening, Stephen.
Hey,
I mean, this is a league that is really defined by the top players on each club, the designated players. How difficult was it for you tonight to go into a match without either? I mean, there are no DPs at all tonight. Like, how do you level the playing field when you're down that quality of player?
I think you've got to try and control the things that you can. Obviously, we were a threat with the pace that we had in behind. We didn't have any of the DPs. Obviously, I think it's the first time in the club's history we've done that in the game. So and like you say, it puts you in a battle against a team that's got some top players. So I think that in terms of the work rate, I couldn't fault the guys. There are situations that could have been prevented, like I said, with maybe a little bit more know-how that you do get from the top guys. So it's balancing the playing field, though, is about work rate and doing the things that you can control well and doing it every single time. So yeah, it's difficult when you don't play with DPs, obviously, for that reason.
Next question, Joe Patrick. Joe, your line's open. Go ahead.
Hey, good evening, Stephen. I'm just wondering, kind of piggybacking off of Felipe's question there, if the intention was to play a little bit more direct with Jon and Jake on the wings there, and how you thought that played out, because it did kind of seem like there wasn't kind of the ponderous play that happened sometimes in the final third. They were really going for it.
Yeah, I think we're more of a threat, and I think it wasn't just a case of getting it in behind as such. It was controlled passes that were going in there that were giving us opportunities. I think possibly where we fell down is when they had backed up a little bit to prevent the balls in behind. We could have maybe played through the middle a little bit better. So that understanding from a group of players could have been better. But it's difficult when it's a group of players that's not played together. It's not an excuse, but it's something that we could be recognising in the game. So I think when we say going in behind, it's not just a case of launching it in behind. I think it was controlled at times. That was giving Jake and giving Jon opportunities.
Next question, Phil West, MLSsoccer.com. Phil, go ahead. Your line is open.
Okay, thanks. Just wanted to ask if there was any more of a timeline on Moreno coming and what that might do to change the equation to get the spark to the team.
First part of that, there's no indication on a timeline at the moment for any players coming in. And then, yeah, if we get players and add them to the roster, obviously it'll be a big help, but it's something that I'm sure the club are working on right now, but nothing's been announced as far as I'm aware at the moment.
Next question, Allison, WSB. Allison, go ahead. Your line's open.
Hey, I was just curious, after the game, what was your message to the team, as now it's a 3-game losing streak and just a few games left in the season?
We're going to speak to them tomorrow morning. Obviously, we've got a lot of video. We've already looked at it as a staff. Tonight's a case of getting the players out of here, and then we'll see them in the morning where we can sit and go over the video and show them some situations that could be improved upon. Obviously, you want to move on as quick as you can, but it's important that you recognise the mistakes that were made, opportunities missed potentially, so that we're ready for Dallas on Wednesday night.
Back to Doug. Doug, your line's open. Go ahead.
Did Barco pick up his injury on Friday? Did it happen during training? Can you share any more information about that? Because it's the second time in the past few weeks that he's picked up an injury the day before a game.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate it's happened to Ezekiel. It was Friday that he's hurt his leg, so he couldn't play tonight. That's as much as I can share on it, Doug, to be honest. But we're very hopeful he'll be available for Wednesday.
Next question, Felipe. Your line's open. Go ahead, Felipe. Thank you. Stephen, you've talked to us a lot about just the belief in the squad. I think Jeff Larentowicz has mentioned that as well, as that being one of the main hurdles that could lead to better results. Where do you think the team is now? I mean, it's the third loss in a row. It's difficult for any player to kind of get over that hump. Are you confident that you can get this team ready for a match against a very good and dynamic Dallas team?
Yeah, Dallas coming in off the back of 3 wins, so it's like you said earlier, it's not easy in this league on any given day. But this is not a group of players that are going to roll over and accept that things are not happening. I think again you saw that second half, they were pushing, trying to get the equaliser, which we didn't. We had a really good opportunity to do so, and I think if we do, we go and get the winner. And but it's a little fine margins of getting wins, and hopefully that starts Wednesday night. There is a belief in the group it can happen. But it's important that we recognise some of the mistakes from tonight and some of the missed opportunities so that we can rectify it Wednesday, then Sunday.
Back to Allison. Go ahead, Allison. Your line's open. Allison, can you hear me? Your line's open.
Do you think there's been like a lack of sense of urgency with their players, or miscommunication? I mean, have you noticed like a common mistake in these last couple of losses that you think that you can correct in the coming weeks?
I think the group recognise it themselves. They feel it. Obviously, in the second halves of games where we are chasing games, we've looked better. And I think we're trying to get that mindset into the group that if we can play like that from minute one, then we give ourselves a better opportunity to win games, impose ourselves on the games a little bit more. I think any time that the group does that, we'll look like a group that can go and attack teams. Obviously, teams that are up are going to sit a touch more, which makes it easier, but also they will sit a little bit more if we are very imposing on the game. So that's the mindset that we want to get into the players. They're good enough to do it. We believe that they can. And I think as soon as we get the first victory, hopefully it can snowball and we can get on a roll.
Last one for Glassy. Doug, your line's open. Go ahead.
Yeah, Coach, I was curious. You said that Miami was packed in a bit, and y'all were trying to use crosses to break them up and ease the width of the field. So why did you take out Adam in that case? I think both of his goals this season are headers. Was he hurt? Did he just kind of run out of steam? What was the thinking on that?
I think the midfielders that we had on the pitch at the minute were being pretty effective in shifting the ball, so the crosser had time on it. It's sometimes not as easy as leaving an extra striker on there. It's there's moving parts that you need to. You've also got to be aware if, although they are packed in a little bit on the counter attack, if you lose another goal, the game's done. So it's I think we just felt like getting Kubo on for Adam was the move at that point, and I think obviously you're getting questioned because it didn't work. I think if Kubo's header hits the net, which it probably should have, then the questions are a little bit different.
Thanks, Glassy. Appreciate it. Hey, Jeff, can you hear me?
Yeah. You hear me?
Yes, we have you. Thank you for joining. First question here, Doug Robertson. Doug, your line's open. Go ahead.
First, Jeff, are you okay after that injury in the first half?
Yeah, yeah, fine, thanks.
Okay, and second, you had said after the Nashville game that this can get worse if we don't work hard and keep doing the things we're supposed to do. How do you think the team looked in that regard tonight, despite the loss?
I think in the moments that mattered, we weren't good enough, and unfortunately, those moments came quickly and early in the game. Again, you know, their counterattack, their speed on the break is something that we spoke about all week, and it still bit us on the first goal. The second goal, they're just sharper than us, and there's really no excuse on that one.
Felipe, your line's open. Go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, Jeff. Question tactically, what was, because, you know, in the end, towards the end of the game, you were even playing up, like, it looked like you were even like as a number 10, Rosetta was dropping back a little bit. What was the thought process there when you guys were looking for that equalizer? Because throughout the game, you had some good movements, but really lacking a true 10. Did you guys feel that? Were you guys working through that during the game, especially in those final moments?
No, I think it was just something that happened on the field, trying to create a different look. I mean, obviously, I can sit in between the center backs and shift the ball side to side. I think if you do it, it becomes repetitive, and the opposing team can jump on it. Matuidi was popping out a bunch. I figured if I kind of switched my positioning and allowed Mateus to get on the ball, and also myself to just try and get in the box. A couple of times where Brooks was crossing, I figured, you know, I might as well make a run for it at this point. I thought that Miles Franco and Anton were handling the counterattack at that point. So, I mean, I didn't feel like I needed to sit as much, and was really just trying to take a chance.
Phil West, MLSsoccer.com. Phil, go ahead.
Thanks. Yeah, I just want to know what the mood is with the team. I mean, obviously, this has been a really rough stretch of games for y'all.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's obviously disappointed. Something that we're not used to. But, you know, we as a team have to rebound. You have to, I think, be humble when you're winning, and you have to stand up when you're losing. And right now, we're in a tough stretch. We've lost a couple in a row. But the season's not going away. You know, we have to stand up to it. We got another game in a couple of days. And as much as you want to, you know, not look at your mistakes and not think about the next game because it's tough, you can't do it. You got to fight your way out of it. You got to play your way out of it. And, you know, you can't back down at this point.
Back to Felipe. Felipe, your line's open. Go ahead.
Thank you. I asked Steven the same question, and I'll repeat it for you. You're so familiar with this league, the way it works, the way that top quality DPs can really change a team and change the dynamic of the team. Tonight, you guys played without a DP. Just going into it, like when you're warming up, knowing that, you know, Ezekiel Barco gets the injury on Friday, does that change the mood? Does that change perhaps the challenge that you guys are facing going into a game against Inter Miami that does have their guys, you know, lined up?
I don't think anyone looks around and says, hey, we have all of our DPs on the field, okay, let's go. That's just not how it works. I think that we all kind of believe in ourselves. We believe in any player on the roster, whether they're you know, a college draftee on league minimum or whether they're a DP. I thought that, you know, our two wingers were extremely dangerous tonight. John and Jake. John obviously gets the goal and played really well and was extremely dangerous. So the danger that those players created was good, and I don't think that anyone stops and looks around and says, "Oh shucks, we didn't have a DP tonight." Everyone's got to stand up. Everyone's got to play, and I thought that honestly, for the most part, you know, attacking wise, which is where all of our DPs are normally located, I thought we were all right. We created chances and had an opportunity, a really good opportunity to bring the game level.
All right. Thanks, Jeff. Appreciate your time. We'll John, can you hear me?
Yep.
Rebecca, your line's open. Your first question to Rebecca. Your line's open. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chris. Hey, John. I wanted to know, how does it feel scoring your first goal for Anna?
Yeah, it's a mixed bag of emotions. Obviously, you know, I'm delighted to have scored my first goal. It's been a long time at the club, kind of working my way up from the USL team, and to have a moment like tonight was really special for me and my family. But as I said, the mixed bag of emotions, obviously, because the team's in a bit of a tough spell, and you know, when you're out there after the goal, it was more focused on getting a win, and you know, obviously that didn't happen. So
Next question, Joe Patrick. Joe, your line's open. Go ahead.
Hey John, can you just kind of walk us through the opening like 15 minutes or so of that game, because it was just so kind of helter-skelter, and obviously I know the team didn't want to concede early. That was like one of the points of emphasis, and you did, but then you came back and got the equalizer after that. So like what was being said after that first goal was scored, and then just kind of the overall craziness of that opening?
yeah, honestly, I don't even know. The first 15 minutes were crazy. I said to one of the other guys that I know on Miami, said this game could turn into like 5-4 the way it's going. I mean, we were pressing and they just kind of split us open way too easy, and obviously that's something we're going to have to address. But and then we come back into the game 1-1, and then they get another goal, go ahead, and then the third one gets called offside. So it was all a bit frantic, and at points like that, you're looking for leaders to step up and, you know, put a stamp on the game and say, look, we got to settle things down, and I thought we did that towards the end of the second half.
Anything else for John? Need to raise hand if you want to ask tonight. We'll go to Felipe. Felipe, your line's open. Go ahead.
Thank you. John, just talk about the instructions that you were given by Stephen Glass pregame, and how perhaps not having the quality of Ezequiel Barco in the middle, what did that change perhaps tactically for you or anyone else playing perhaps in the attacking part of the field?
Yeah, I mean, I was listening to Jeff answer a similar question about not having Barco. I mean, I was going into this game not thinking I was going to start, and then obviously, you know, he picks up a little injury, and I was thrown into the lineup. So as a player, you know, you've kind of got to mentally change things, how you prepare for the game, being a sub compared to a starter. So yeah, I mean, I know Glassy believes in me, and I want to do really well for him, just because of the connection we have. And he just told me, you know, be myself. He knows I'm an attacking player. He knows I can score goals. He said, just put yourself in opportunities where you're going to help the team. He thought I did well last time we played Miami, so he said just, you know, he didn't really need to say much apart from just do what you do best and get at people.
Next question, Phil West, MLSsoccer.com. Phil, go ahead. Your line's open.
Thanks. So, John, yeah, your goals was probably one of the bright spots of the game tonight. So, just from kind of your perspective, can you see things to build upon looking forward to the Dallas game?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really tough spot that the team's in at the moment. I think that the club's not used to being in a spot like this, so nobody's going to help us get out of it apart from ourselves. So I think collectively we've got to come together and you know, no, as I said, nobody's going to get us out of this rut. So it's on the players, and I know we're capable of doing it. So hopefully we can come together and kind of string a couple of results in the rest of the season.
All right, thanks, John. Thanks, everyone. That